Om Bhoge Rogabayam Kule Chutibayam Vitte Nripaladbayam Mane Dainyabhavam Kule Ripuvavam Rupe Jaraya Bhavam Shastre Vadibhayam Gune Kalbayam Kaye Kritanta Bhayam Sarvam Vastu Bhayanvritam Bhuvi Nrinam Vairagyamevam Abhayam. In enjoyment, there is a fear of disease. In social positions, the fear of falling. In wealth, the fear of hostile takeover. In honor, the fear of humiliation. In power, the fear of enemies. In beauty, the fear of old age. In scriptural erudition, the fear of opponents. In virtue, the fear of defamation. In body, the fear of death. All things in this world pertaining to humans are attended with fear. Renunciation alone is fearless. This verse is from a book called Vairagya Shatakam. It is written by a very famous author, sage, called Bhartrihari. There's 100 verses on giving up. So much for fear. Everything is attended with fear. And I mean everything. You must have heard of Franklin D. Roosevelt saying, the only thing to fear is fear itself. Yeah, but then there are some species, like take for instance the honey badger. The honey badger apparently does not know fear at all. He'll take on opponents 10 times its size. So, might end up like a honey badger. Now, if you look at what this fear is, it is part of one's body and part of one's mind. It's a biochemical, physiological, everything. This fear is so pervasive. It gives us the idea of flight or fight. And also, now they've also added freeze. So you can get frozen, as it were. And it's a natural human response. Your heart starts palpitating, of course. Not only that, adrenaline keeps on flowing, and your body and everything is tense, ready to fly or fight or whatever. But I don't know, when I was very young, at least our generation, when I first began reading books in English, I started with novels. And one of my favorite authors was Alistair MacLean. And he had a book, if you remember, any of you remember, Fear is the Key. And that was what got me hooked on those novels. The greatest fear, of course, is the fear of death. It is everywhere. Why? Because death is everywhere. We see it. and we want to avoid it. Somehow that fear is suppressed. Now we are the fearless. You can say, oh, we are so fearless here. There's nothing there. Yeah. Some news comes, and then you see how your body and mind starts reacting. It's one of that terrors that we could have avoided. However, it is also a necessity. It gives us, it's so intuitive. You can stay away from danger. And it's like the humans have a kind of a sixth sense to sense danger. The fear, that factor has what has preserved us. However, in the Bhagavad Gita, there's a list of divine qualities. Divine and its opposite, demonic. And the first thing that the divine quality is fearlessness, purity of heart, steadfastness in knowledge and yoga, charity, the control of the senses, sacrifice, study of the scriptures, austerity, and penances, and straightforwardness. Sabhayam sattva samshuddhi jnana yoga vyavasthiti. It's a whole chapter, but the whole chapter contains only the first two verses as enumerating the divine qualities. And the rest, the Lord enumerates the demonic qualities. So heading the list of divine qualities is this fearlessness. Now, Swami Vivekananda, when he was here in San Francisco, he told the members of the Vedanta Society, see, I have lectured on Vedanta. I'm going to send you someone who lives Vedanta. And his exact words is, in Turiyananda, you will see Vedanta personified. He lives it every moment of his life. He is the ideal Hindu monk, and he will help you all to live pure and holy lives. And we see in the life of Swami Turiyananda here, first in LA, first on the East Coast, came to LA, then to San Francisco, and especially in the ashram he established called the Shanti Ashram. It's 51 miles from the Bay Area. So here we have Swami Vivekananda's high regards for his brother monk. Now, what was Swami Turiyananda? Now we can see his picture itself shows the visage, the face as fearless, his eyes. We remember asking, my guru was there, then the president of the order, and we had all gone to make salutations to him, and it was Swami Turiyananda's birthday. And then we asked him, what memory do you have of Swami Turiyananda when you met him? So he says, oh. So he's saying, I was just a young boy, a student, and I had gone to see Swami Turiyananda at Balram Bose's house in Calcutta. Balram Bose was a great devotee. And I saw him. He was sitting ramrod straight, not leaning against a wall. There was a wall. and he was in his 50s, maybe mid 50s. Generally, what do we do? Oh, we will lean on the wall. All his life, he was like this. And posture indicates temperament. So here we have him sitting straight and always kind of alert. That was Swami Turiyananda. What is this fearlessness? What was there in him that made him fearless? Firstly, we like to present to you what the Upanishads speak. In the great debates that we find in one of the oldest Upanishads, Yajnavalkya, the sage, tells the emperor Janaka, Abhayam vai Janaka praptosi, you have attained the state of fearlessness, O Janaka. What is the state of fearlessness? Then the Upanishad speaks, that great birthless self, unborn self, is undecaying, immortal, undying, fearless, and infinite. Brahman is indeed fearless. He who knows it as such becomes the fearless Brahman. He who knows Brahman becomes the fearless one. Yes, it's a very famous mantra in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. Sava ejo mahan aja atma, etc. So here we have reality itself is free from fear. Everything else smacks of fear. Why is there? And the Upanishad further says, when there is duality, as it were, there is always fear. Always. So where there is a subject and object, you will find you're frightened. But when there is only one reality, that person sees only one, what does that person get frightened of? So Swami Turiyananda, he says, when he was young and he began studying the scriptures, he came across Shankaracharya's words saying, the ever free Atman takes a human birth in order to taste the bliss of liberation in life. Jivan Mukti, the bliss of liberation in life. And then he says, and not for the fulfillment of worldly desires. Jivan Mukti heto hai. So what is the goal of life? This. The goal of life is to experience liberation and to live it. That was what Swami Turiyananda was. He was liberated and he enjoyed. These are the people who really enjoyed. But does the body get affected? Yeah, the body will get affected. That doesn't matter. But there's no fear of the body that it will be there, it will perish. I'll give you a few examples of what Swami Turiyananda's fearlessness was. Now, like I said, we asked our guru if he met Swami Turiyananda, and he did. So these people are not figments of imagination. These are not things that somebody has come and embellished with stories, etc. These were just people a little over a century ago. And yes, over a century ago, he was here. First in New York, then New Jersey, Montclair, the Boston. He comes to Los Angeles, San Francisco. He was there for over 2.5 years in the US. So we get a taste of fearlessness. when he was young, as a usual practice, he used to go every morning to the Ganges to bathe. And he is good. And young boys, they keep on swimming. And it was just daybreak. And he saw something moving in the water. And he reacted. And there were other people on the banks of the river. And they started shouting, "Crocodile, crocodile." It's not really a crocodile. It's that the species called, crocodile species called a mugger. So, and so he, swam towards the banks, the shore. And while he was still in knee-deep water, he's saying, "What? Why am I running away? I still think I'm the body and I'm fearless, etc. And I've been reading the Vedanta." So he goes back into the river. Fortunately, whatever the crocodile did not come back. So he was from the beginning like this. So he was born Harinath Chattopadhyay. So he was the youngest of 6 children, 3 brothers, 3 sisters. Of his father was Chandranath, and they were kind of orthodox in their beliefs and habits, etc., etc. And he was born on January 3, 1863 in North Calcutta. And so his father was known for his piety, courage, and power to foretell the future. These people, all these practiced maybe astrology also. And Harinath's mother was Prasannamai, and she died when he was 3. Well, she was trying to protect him from a rabid jackal. Rabid in the sense of rabies. So she died when he was 3. He was brought up by his sisters. And when he was 12, his father passed away. On his deathbed, the young boy is weeping. And so his sister tells the dying father, say some words of consolation for him. Imagine who's supposed to console whom. So his father says, what should I say? Hari belongs to the world and the world belongs to Hari. And see how it came out true. He was named Harinath, but then always he was called Hari. Hari Bhai, the brother Hari. His father said, yes, Hari belongs to the world and the world belongs to Hari. So he was 12. And by the time he was already invested with the sacred thread. Now, a lot of people are criticized because of their, they are Brahmins and they are this and that and privileged class and this and that and all these kind of things. But it is very difficult to be a true Brahmin with the Brahminical qualities. Extremely difficult. For instance, saying, what do you say? He was initiated in the Gayatri Mantra, obviously, and he would bathe 3 times a day. That was one of the rules. Practice japa and meditation regularly, sleep on the floor, and eat simple vegetarian diet. Apart from that, he used to wrestle, learned wrestling in a gymnasium. He could do 100 push-ups and 500 knee bends at a stretch. So he was not a kind of a weakling. Look at us. If somebody asked me to do 100, I said, yeah, I can do maybe 10 of it. So he trained his body and he trained his mind. That is the idea. So he was fully absorbed in the idea of spirituality. Their only job, these kind of orthodox people, their only job is, as I say, profession, vocation, mission, everything is to protect the treasury of religion. They're saying, what do you do? Oh, I got, no, that's their job, their mission is to protect the treasury of religion. And how do they do it? By severe penances and austerities. So Bhagavad Gita gives a long list of qualities that you need to do. Shama, Dama, Tapa, Shaucham, Kshantirarjam evayevaja, Jnanam, Vijnanam, Astikyam, Brahma Karma Svabhav. This, it's natural for these Brahmins. What? Control of the external organs, sense organs, control of the mind, practice of penances, austerity, cleanliness, purity, forgiveness, and then we have finally saying the study of the scriptures, only devoting your life to the cultivation of knowledge and its realization, and faith. So astikyam, what is astikya? Astikya, the Upanishads always speak about you must have that faith that what I'm doing is correct and it will yield results. Or further, God exists. Astikya, it's called Astikya Buddhi. It's extremely important because there is now no wavering, there is no doubt. People keep on questioning when we see we give a talk and then people questions. We know who has got that firm faith and who don't. Why? Because behind that there is no spiritual practices. So he was something like this. That is one of the qualities that one must have. He started his education at there is something called in a Bengali school, Kambulya Tola. He studied Bengali literature and Sanskrit literature, and then he went to the General Assembly school, which was run by Christian missionaries. And though his classmates used to avoid a Bible class, he used to go, and any kind of scriptures, any kind of holy book was welcome. And by that time, he had memorized the Gita and those parts of the Upanishads and Vivek Chudamani and the Durga Shaptasati, the Chandi, etc. And he used to go and in the evening sit down on the banks of the Ganges, practice meditation, and weep for God. As Sri Ramakrishna will say, people weep a jug full of tears for this and that. Who will weep for God? If you weep for God, God will come. So this was the beginning. I'll give you a few other instances of his, you can say, fearlessness, because he was fearless. He used to teach, and here one of the monks who was here in San Francisco, he taught him. He later became Swami Atulananda. He was called Gurudas Maharaj. Saying, be yourself and be strong. Realization is only for the strong, the pure and the upright. Remember that you are the Atman. That gives greatest strength and courage. So these are the qualities he also inculcated, which he possessed in his students. And this is very important because people want to study Vedanta. That's very good. But you've got to have some qualities like this, at least to some degree. And then Vedanta makes a lot of sense. Vedanta always uses the illustration of a lion. Like lion, you see a lion as it's growing up, it's like a cub, very, very cute and very beautiful and, so defenseless. And then as it keeps on growing, suddenly it becomes aware of I'm a lion. And by the time it grows up, it knows no fear. So Vedanta has used this illustration of a Vedantin with the attitude of a lion. Attitude not in that sense of the nature of a lion, fearlessness. So like Swami Vivekananda said, like a lion, not frightened at noises. So we will jump out of our skin. The question is, do these people fear at all? Yes, it's a natural human response, but there's an overriding another spiritual response to it. It's not suppressing, it's just a system overrides one other system. And that is what is fearlessness. Otherwise, a stone or a tree also does not fear. Not fear. The trees, of course, they get frightened, saying, "Yeah, this guy's come." They start signaling to everybody around, going to cut us, pruners or something like that. So these are some of this. One time, of course, we've seen, and he became a monk. Swami Vivekananda initiated him into the name Swami Turiyananda, because Sri Ramakrishna says he comes from a place from where names and forms, that is creation, is manufactured. So he comes from a transcendental realm. His nature is transcendental. And Turiya means the transcendental realm. So if those who have read the 3 states of consciousness in the Mandukya Upanishad, the waking and the dream and the deep sleep, and then there's a 4th state called the Turiya, transcendental. So his bliss was in that transcendental realm. He became a monk, and one time he was itinerant and he was moving around. He came to a place in North India called Vrindavan. It's a sacred place. There, during his travel, he met a lot of people, seeing people and all, and saying, everybody is doing something or the other useful in this world. I'm the one who's a vagabond, not doing anything. And I'm just like a parasite. And he was so depressed with this thought. And then he threw himself down under a tree and he fell asleep. And then, in a vision, he saw himself lying down flat on the ground, and a voice saying, "See." And then his body, which was lying down under the tree, started expanding and expanding and expanding till it covered the whole world. And he was watching his own body expand to cover the whole world. "See how great you are," the voice said. "You are not a vagabond. Get up and be strong." So a grain of truth covers a whole world of delusions. Got up, all that depression and all had gone off. So here he found himself. At times, you do feel kind of a cloud of delusion covering you. One time in the monastery, in the first monastery, as you keep on practicing, it's called, Christian mystics call it the dark night of the soul. When the soul is, yearning for higher truths, and it feels as if it is stuck, trapped into something, and it cannot release itself. So everybody experiences this. There is no doubt about it. In this way, the soul is kind of tested, the individual soul. So he was like his spiritual disciplines and everything were kind of like stuck. He was like imprisoned in his own mind, as it were. So he goes to the roof of the monastery and he is pacing up and down. And the sky is dark with clouds. And as he's watching it, the clouds move and the moon shines through. And there he's saying, the moon was always there. It was only the clouds that covered it. And the clouds moved, the moon shone. So the Atman, the reality, is always there within. Something comes and obscures that. And it's not going to stay for long. If you push it, it will go off. And this is what happens. So he was like that. Though he was a human being, of course. And so we had these normal responses. One time in the Himalayas, the villagers, they used to give wandering monks a place to stay. So he was staying in a place, and where and those places in the Himalayas in those days, not now, a lot of wild cats or tigers, etc. So there was an alarm raised, tiger, tiger. So he went in his room and put something to barricade the door. And then he said, what? What am I doing? He pushed the barricades out. And these tigers, one paw they can smash through the door. So he meditated there. Thank God the tiger did not come. However, later in life, he did. When again he was in North India, in a place which is near Haridwar, Nangol it's called. He used to stay there. He was there, and as he was walking, he saw a tiger. The tiger came face to face with him. He's looking at the tiger, and the tiger is looking at. Both are looking at each other, staring down. It was like, who's going to blink first? Let's see. Tigers, they are the real kings of the forest. So you must see one to believe it. I mean, not in the cages, of course. In the zoos. See, it also knows it is a king. There's nothing that frightens. So both are looking at each other, sizing each other up. And the tiger blinked. It turned and went away. Turiyananda was. This happened also with Swami Vivekananda. Well, Vivekananda was different. He's saying, see, we are both hungry. He's saying, I don't have the strength to kill you. You have that. Okay. And they're both looking at each other. And again, the tiger left and went away. And that that happened when even Swami Vivekananda was in his itinerant days. So this was one of his fearlessness. Look at us. You can imagine. Even if you see a tiger in the cage, you know what's going to happen. Oh my God. That primal fear comes out. If you even see a spider, look at how we scream. Some of us, of course. Now, yeah, there is something called the external fear. Like one time he had a carbuncle on his back. And the doctor said it has to be operated. You cannot leave it as it is. So it's and Swami Turiyananda said, there is no, but the brother disciples insisted, and the surgeon comes and, all right, you can cut it out. But no anesthesia. In those days, these modern anesthetic drugs were not available. They had something only called the chloroform. You used to put the chloroform and knock that. Say, no, 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 I don't want to chloroform. So, but it's painful. It's okay. And then the operation itself lasted a couple of hours. And he didn't raise a murmur. Nothing. It's like he never felt anything. The doctor was surprised, saying, "What happened?" "Oh, I just withdrew my mind from that part." The next day, the surgeon comes to check his work. And Swami Turiyananda was distracted. He was with something else, and the surgeon touches that cut part. And ow, he does. Ow. See, yesterday, you never uttered a word of protest or any pain or anything. And today, well, tell me if you're going to touch it, I'll withdraw my mind from there. Withdraw your mind from there. Look at this. And this has happened with other direct disciples also. Surgery is being taken place. These guys are reading some book or something like that. You do the surgery, I'll be busy here. Right? So they had complete control over the mind. So they were not letting the mind run down the nervous system, and so they just withdrew the mind out from there. Another time, again, something had to be lanced. There's a foot that had to be infection, and so all right, just they cut it. And even in San Francisco, in Shanti Ashram, one time he was meditating, and he was meditating deeply, and then he felt something sting his finger, left hand, and he just flicked it away, and then he kept on meditating. And everyone else, after a while, that is after a few hours, he sees the hand is swollen. Oh, what happened? Some insect bit him. Now these people are saying 51 miles away from the Bay Area, and in those days they just a horse and horse buggy. That's the only transport. Now they're wondering what to do. Fortunately, a doctor wanted to see him who knew him in New York, and he was on his way to see him, and he arrived just on time, and they treated that thing. So everyone else is agitated, but not him. You have also, now, like I said, people, they don't get frightened of other things, like maybe, but when their own body is concerned, it's becomes very dangerous, becomes very fear. So one time he was in Puri, and during that time, he was weak and ill, and he says, I saw my life force, my vital forces being drawn out by a stronger vital force from outside. It is drawing the inner vital forces and the outer vital forces are now locked in a struggle. Now, who will win? If the outer vital forces will draw the inner ones, that is death. And we get an insight also now here how this thing happens. When death happens, what happens? All the inner vital forces are merged in the external vital forces. So the external vital force is drawing. And he's seeing the whole thing like a kind of a drama, saying both are. And when the external vital forces were just trying to conquer the inner, he gets a vision of Swami Vivekananda, saying, Hari Bhai, what's this? What? Your time hasn't come yet. And immediately the inner vital forces, they win. and they pull back, and so he revives. He had that experience also. Not that these people get frightened. He's saying, I was watching the whole thing like a drama, like a play. He used to watch his mind so minutely, what it does. The idea of observer, you watch the mind and become aware of your breath and become aware of feelings, etc. These were just for child's play for him. He used to watch his mind even when it used to go to sleep. He watched his mind where it went when it fell asleep. That is deep sleep. He observed even that. So that means he was aware of his reality beyond the waking, the dream, and even the deep sleep. So we don't know where we go when we fall asleep. We see some nice dreams. What nice dreams you saw? Yeah, it's all raining and pouring and this and then here. Washington State is now full of water all over the place and we are dreaming. And then we fall asleep and it's off, lights off, gone. These guys could even watch that mind and its location in deep sleep. So this was the power that they had. So I spoke about the divine qualities, fearlessness, purity of heart. He says, I have done what a human being ought to do in life. I have completed my human journey. What are we supposed to do? $1 million? Billion? No. He's saying, my aim was to make my life pure. That was. So purity of heart, when you say fearlessness, purity of heart, steadfastness in knowledge and yoga. Oh, since his young age only, he was steadfast in the pursuit of knowledge and yoga. He used to read books and meditate for hours and hours. And we sit down for half an hour and our legs and our back starts aching. And then after some time, we continue and then actually we are meditating on our own pain. And then somehow after that meditation on the pain or the numbness, my leg has fallen asleep. We will start meditating. What? On our own subconscious thoughts. All these thoughts come up and we are meditating on that. But you are supposed to meditate on God. Oh, that the Swami will take care of. No, you are supposed to take care. So our meditation, these guys, their meditation, they should last for hours and hours and not meditating on their pain or on their subconscious mind. That is why meditation does not become effective in many people's life. If you do the things correctly, you will get it. But we are doing something, there's something wrong there. Charity, oh, he was just charitable. He never kept anything for himself. Control of the senses, we've seen how he could control his senses, just pull his mind out from the body, etc. Study of the scriptures, etc. He used to study 7 to 8 hours a day. Nowadays, we think, yeah, I know. And Sri Ramakrishna never liked that attitude. He's saying, what? Never say, I know. Suppose I ask you, what is love? You will give me a big lecture, but you will not describe anything. Suppose I say, what is time? What? Time? What? You cannot explain. You cannot explain anything in this world. Precisely. What is energy? You keep on learning and learning and learning. So Sri Ramakrishna never liked anyone say, oh, I know. So he's saying, as long as you live, so long do you learn. So this was a lifelong vow of Swami Turiyananda. Kept on learning and learning and learning. Austerity? Oh yeah, he was very austere. He used to spend the winter months of northern India with only a thin wrapper. And when he used to freeze there, he used to sit up and meditate. So meditation generates that heat. So he used to meditate. Straightforwardness. Yeah, one time in Boston, the one rich lady, she's saying he differed in her opinions about certain things. If you don't go along with my views, I'll throw you out of this. Saying, madam, you can throw me out of your house, but I'm not going to listen to what you say and do what you want. So then that rich lady, she kind of backed off. The same thing had happened here also in San Francisco. We don't know the name of that gentle lady who said she was a wife of a oil magnate, and she wanted to push Swami Turiyananda around. They said, no, just because you've helped me with a few dollars, I have not sold my head to you. Yeah, I can walk out anytime. So they were straightforward. They never minced words with anyone. It's very difficult to live with such people. They'll tell you exactly what you are. They're not trying to take you for a ride. So this Swami Turiyananda, he lived the life, the ideal life that we find mentioned in the scriptures of what a knower of Brahman should be like. And all his life, let's say, he never compromised with anything, especially not with truth. In his younger days, he had a friend who later became Swami Akhandananda, Gangadhar Mai. And they were both like of similar natures. So, Swami Turiyananda, he passed away in July 21, 1922. The night before his death, he said to his attendants, tomorrow is the last day. Okay. You remember, he had got an extension from Swami Vivekananda. This time, no extension. So, towards the end, he chanted Om Ramakrishna, Om Ramakrishna. Then he asked his attendant to help him sit up. With folded hands, he saluted the master. That's the way that yogis are supposed to give up the body. Sit down. You don't have to lie down and die. Prone. I'm going to die. No. Sit up. And then he drank a little holy water. Then he summed up his life's experience. Everything is real. Brahman is real. The world is real. The world is Brahman. The vital force, the prana, is established in truth. Hail Ramakrishna, hail Ramakrishna. Say that he is the embodiment of truth, the embodiment of knowledge. Then he recited the Upanishadic word, Satyam Jnanam Anantam. So he had come to a stage where the reality was here and palpable. He had taken the veil of illusion from his own mind. And this is the state of Vijnana, where one sees Brahman everywhere. So this is, because Brahman is not somewhere in the skies or in somewhere in another country or in heaven or anything. No, it's here. He realized this is what. Slowly he closed his eyes as is merging into Brahman. Brahman is truth, knowledge and infinity. Satyam Jnanam. Closed eyes. He merged in Brahman. When he was young, he met Sri Ramakrishna in a place where Sri Ramakrishna had gone to visit somebody. It's called Dinanath Basu's house. So he was 13 and he sees Sri Ramakrishna. And Sri Ramakrishna was in a kind of a state of ecstasy. And there was someone helping him down, get down from the carriage. And he looked at him. So it's a kind of, there's a radiance around him. Saying, who is this? Who is this person? Because the neighborhood are all there, the gossip around. Oh, there is a Paramahansa. There was the highest class of monks. Paramahansa. He's going to come here, visit this neighborhood. So all the boys of the neighborhood had gone to see. So 13 years, he sees that radiance around him. So who is this? Is this the same Shuka? Shuka was one of the greatest of knows of Brahman. So it took 3 years for him to again visit Sri Ramakrishna in Dakshineshwar. And that was because he was busy studying. He said, I don't need a teacher. I can work out this liberation on my own. So he was studying. So Sri Ramakrishna saying, when he met him, saying, I heard you study the Vedanta. Yes. What does Vedanta say? Brahman alone is real and the world is unreal, isn't it? Does it say anything anymore? Anything? No, sir, this is what it says. Why don't you give up the unreal? And the curtains dropped. A flood of light came into it. That is the way one has to know it. Brahman alone is real by giving up the unreal. Now, he was that in the mold of, the Jnana Yoga, the path of discernment, meditation, discernment, hearing about the scriptures, thinking of it, cogitating, and then meditating on it. So he was involved in it, and he did not somehow like the path of devotion. He was not oriented. So one time Sri Ramakrishna, he met him and then he says, he sang a song with so much pathos. Like the song is about Hanuman, the great devotee of Rama. He's singing a song to Rama's twin sons, Lava and Kusha, saying, oh, Lava and Kusha, you think you could have captured me if I would not let myself be captured? Hanuman was par excellence. And he was weeping, and Turiyananda also began weeping. He was young. It was firmly imprinted in his mind on that day, he says, that God can be seen and realized only through God's grace, not through self-effort, however much you try. So he says, I was a jnani, like one who always involved with the cultivation of knowledge. Sri Ramakrishna made me a devotee. And here we find that both jnana, knowledge, and devotion, bhakti, had merged. And that was what we see in the final stages. Because for the devotee, the world is real. And for the person of knowledge, the world is unreal, not in this way we see it. Because we don't see the reality here, that the person of knowledge wants to strip this veil that is round, that's covering everything. So he had the realization of both the highest points of knowledge and devotion. When he says the world is real, Brahman is real, and this world is established in Brahman, and prana is real. So this world, he was in the state, as I say, of Vijnana. Om, peace, 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 shanti, shanti, shanti. before we go into a few announcements, I think this is the last Sunday talk before we break for a winter recess. However, on the 1st of Jan, which is we celebrate on the first New Year's, etc. But we are going to have a whole day vigil from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. So please go on our website. You can dedicate an hour or 2 hours or whatever. You can come and meditate and do japa here. Okay. At the end, at 6 p.m., we have a small service and a talk. Because on that day, Shri Ramakrishna became the wish-fulfilling tree called the Kalpataru, where he gave everybody whatever they wanted, spiritual, of course. So on the 2nd Jan, we begin our winter recess. It will go on for a month, a little over a month, but it will be paused for 1 day on January 11th, when we celebrate Swami Vivekananda's birthday. So January 11th, that's on a Sunday. So I think no questions here, and online questions can be taken down. Yeah. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Shri Ram Krishna Arpanamastu.